good.
Okay.
I knew nothing about this until about 3 hours ago.
All righty.
Great.
Dan orchestrated some type of pasta, meat sauce, gravy Wednesday. God bless him. Good work.
You know what was happening is we had this conversation where guys in the back were talking about making Sunday gravy.
Right.
And I said, well, why don't you put up or shut up? So Alan, the IT guy, Rob is the intern, and Rob threw his hat in.
He's 1/9 Italian.
I don't know how much Italian he is, but he's enough to make looks like pretty good gravy. And then Marvin, who answers the phones, he brought his father-in-law in, who's full Italian.
A ringer.
Yes. And this is what we have.
Okay, how about this? Based off looks.
Oh.
Based off looks.
That's gravy. Like that's Rob the intern.
Well, now, some gravies have both meatballs, veal,
I'm just going with the color. Now this is Alan, the IT guy, who I trust Alan's.
It's more heavy meats. There's pulled like a veal, there's pork, there's
It's good.
meatballs.
And I trust Alan. Now, this is vodka.
Like penne alla vodka.
Penne alla vodka. That's Marvin's father-in-law, who I think comes from the old country. That's what we have. You know who's the winner? We are. Hey, Fritzy's not here. McLovin's not here. Seaton's not here. And I told everybody in back, you know, social distancing. You got to stay away. No, it's just this is us. Rob Gronkowski ending his one-year retirement, rejoining Tom Brady now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We didn't get a lot of time to react to this. Just the possibility of, hey, Aaron Gronk might be coming back. You know, that Adam Schefter, he was a buzzkill yesterday. Because all of a sudden, Danettes were talking with amongst one another, and all of a sudden it was like there's this group text, and we go, hey, you're hearing Gronk, and then, hey, Schefty just reported he's passed his physical, he's going to Tampa Bay. I'm like, wait a minute, how is that a done deal? But Gronk, it seemed like, and look, am I surprised? And did I think he was coming back? No, I did not. I thought that he was happy working at the WWE. He's a very smart, he's a good businessman. I think Gronk's good at playing dumb, but he's a smart guy. WWE has some business opportunities, and I thought he was just starting to get healthier. He had lost weight, started to feel a little bit better, and we know what the game did to him, all the surgeries there, and he's a Hall of Famer. And that's why I thought, as much as he'd love to come back, as much as he'd love to play with Brady at another place and have fun, I just didn't think he would do it. He joins a talented group of receivers. You got Mike Evans, you got Chris Godwin, you got two tight ends right now, Braid and Howard. I don't know if you're going to keep both of those guys because I look at Gronk, he's not going to be your typical tight end here. He's not going to be your every down tight end. He's going to be the guy who can come in and you got guys who are going to be able to stretch the field. Gronk works over the middle. In the red zone, you got that security blanket for Tom. He knows what Brady does. Brady knows what Gronk does. He's not going to be the same Gronk that we saw a few years ago, but still, at that position, he sort of plays that position where I post you up. You know, if you play basketball and you have the guy who can just take up space inside and you can't move him, that's what Gronk can do. He can go over the middle of the field. He can take up space. Is he going to have yards after the catch? Probably not. But you start to look at what Tampa is doing, and, of course, I'm all in on my Buccaneers. I don't think this changes. It should change their Super Bowl odds, but it did. They went from 6th best odds to 4th best odds in the NFL. I didn't agree with that. I think Gronk helps them. I don't know how much. And I'm cautiously optimistic of what Gronk is able to do. We do know about the injuries. We know he's been limited. He hasn't played 16 games in a season since 2011. Single-digit games, played twice in the last 6 years. He's 31 in May. I like it. Maybe it's one of those where he doesn't give you that much on the field, but I do think there's entertainment. I do think there is a levity that he can add. And Brady likes him being around. You know, Adam Schefter on his podcast had Gronk on recently, and this is September. And, you know, everybody kept thinking, if Tom calls, hey, if Tom calls. Well, Tom eventually called. It just wasn't with the Patriots, which we'll get into in a moment. But here's a little bit of that podcast with Adam Schefter and
What happens
Grunt.
if Tom calls you in December and says, Rob, come on, post, stretch run, playoffs, don't have to come back that much. You're feeling good. Your toes are better from the CBD. Your body feels better. your weight's better. What do you say when Tom calls you, Rob?
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing his treatments, getting his pliability. If he comes over and rubs some CBD Matic on me, I'll feel twice as good then, and then I'll be ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to turn down your friend and quarterback if he calls you late in the season.
I might have to try some of that CBD. What's a stranger laugh, Mike Tyson or Rob Gronkowski? I know that you're not an analyst, you're an insider, but when you start to look at what's going on, like you have to be an analyst in looking at the games that are played leading up to the draft. What is real, what is not, you know, and I always say it's a roller coaster ride for every quarterback. And you look each week, and it felt like each quarterback got a week where we talked about them. We praised them, and then we buried them. You know, Jordan Love had his week. And then, you know, it feels like Justin Herbert got his week. And now Tua is getting a week that he doesn't want because it's all negativity here. How do you sort out exactly what is going on with Tua and his camp?
You know, Dan, it's funny you say that because I think of that. And every year we watch it unfold, and I think this is the 30th NFL draft that I've covered. And you see these guys, in a way, they're like stocks. Their stock is up one week, their stock is down the next. It's up, it's down. And you never quite know the way it's going to go, but rest be assured, during the process, almost everybody outside the number one overall pick will have his stock down at some point in time, no matter how good he is. And so Tua has gone through that. Look, and I'm a part of this. Like, I ride that wave too. Yeah. Last week I thought, boy, Justin Herbert's going to the Dolphins, I think. And now I don't know that I think that anymore. And I don't know what I think with Miami at 5, to be perfectly frank, if I'm going to tell it like it is, because the Dolphins have done a great job. When you talk to people, I say, what do you know? They said, I know it's very quiet out of Miami. My sense today is that the Dolphins like Jordan Love and Tua more than they like Herbert. But do I know that? I don't know that, Dan.
Oh, my God.
And listen, that's the beauty of this draft. You know why? Because it's the bewitching hour, it's the moment of the truth, and everybody's got to put their cards on the table, right? Like, yep, here's the quarterback we like. We like this one. We're taking this guy, and there's no hiding it.
If Brady is still in New England, is Gronk out of retirement?
I don't believe he is, no. I think that this was a situation where if Tom left there, wherever he went, Gronk would have gone. If Tom would have gone to Los Angeles to play for the Chargers, I believe we might be having this conversation today about Gronk playing for the Chargers. If Tom had gone to San Francisco to play for the 49ers, I think Gronk might be playing with George Kittle there in the Bay Area. Wherever he was going to go, I think Gronk had it in his mind that he'd be interested in following. And you need no further evidence of that than going back 2 years ago to the draft of 2018. Right before that draft, the Patriots reached an agreement with the Lions to trade Gronk to Detroit. And they were going to trade Gronk and a second-round pick and get back a second and a first-round pick, which would have given the Patriots 3 first-round picks in 2018. And Gronk, when he found out he was going, said, I'm going to retire. I'm not going to Detroit. Don't want to play anywhere else but with Tom. And so I think there's the evidence of the loyalty. And it was going to be Tampa Bay in this particular case, or it was going to be nothing, which is why, Dan, I think New England really was stuck. New England doesn't get stuck often. But in this particular case, Gronk had a $10 million salary. They only got $1 million against the cap. If he says, I'm coming back, they got to carry that salary, clear the space, and make room for him. And they weren't prepared to do that when he didn't want to do that. Could have made life hard for them. And so they took a player that wasn't going to play for them and turned it basically into a 4th-round pick.
Rob the intern gave us that.
Roberto.
Oh, he's going with Roberto? Oh, my God. For one day, he's going as Roberto. Alan Goodsey.
Yeah.
He is, that's his. And then the Goodsey. got a ma. And then this is Marvin, who answers phones and does other things, by the way. His father-in-law brought this in, and he's kind of a ringer. I think his father-in-law being full Italian, and I said, look, everybody wins here. There's no losers here.
I've been fasting for almost 4 hours.
Now that's Alan, the IT guy. Roberto, the intern. That's a big meatball. That's what she said. I gotta go back on the air, so I can't even have that yet. When we're rewatching this draft in 5 years, who's the quarterback that we can't believe was drafted in that spot? If I said Burrow, Tua, Herbert, Jordan Love, or Jalen Hurts?
I will take Jordan Love just because I feel like he does have the best potential, but potential is such a dirty word in evaluating because not very many people realize it. I'm sure like everybody else, I was watching the 2017 redraft last night, and to see Mahomes fall to 10, and there'd be a lot of skepticism of what this guy is going to be. He went to the perfect landing spot, and for Jordan Love, it would take a similar perfect landing spot. Maybe that's the Colts where he can sit and learn from Phillip Rivers. Somewhere where he's not going to be forced into action right away. Maybe it's Tampa, where he can learn behind Tom until he's ready to move on. But I think Jordan Love's raw talent is really intriguing, not to the point that he should be a top 5 pick, maybe not even a top 10 pick. But I do think if there's going to be one guy on the positive side, if there's one guy that surprises us, it would be Jordan Love. On the negative, I feel really good that Justin Herbert's going to go number 5 overall, and I feel really good that he should not go number 5 overall. So he might be the Mitch Trubisky. I just don't think he's that good, Dan. I really don't. Everyone, when they talk about Justin Herbert, they point to one game, the Rose Bowl, and then it's like, oh, but look how good he was at the Senior Bowl in the Combine. You're in shorts. There's no defense.
But, Matt, if you see it, why don't other teams see it?
I think because I don't have to draft a quarterback or I'm going to lose my job. Like, Bleacher Report's not going to fire me if I miss on a quarterback. You know, I'm going to get embarrassed on Twitter. That's all that's going to happen. So there's so much pressure from owners and fans, and especially, if you're Miami, you haven't had a quarterback since Dan Marino. And you have to look at what Drew Brees does every year in New Orleans and say, we passed on that. So now I think there is just an incredible amount of pressure. It's why E.J. Manuel goes in the first round. It's why you trade up for Mitch Trubisky. It's this position where any other gets over-evaluated. Justin Herbert at the end of the year was not the second-best quarterback in his draft class, but Thursday night he'll be drafted at that spot. So I think that's where sort of teams miss and mess up. And I hope I'm wrong. I want every player to succeed, but I just cannot sign off on that guy being a top 5 pick.
It was reported that you learned how to text and email during the quarantine. Can you confirm or deny?
Well, I receive emails. I'm not much of a texter. I receive text. So the big news is I now have an email and I receive emails. But
have you sent an email on your own?
No, I cannot.
And then who texts you?
Oh, all kind of people text me. But,
okay.
If I need to respond, I just call them.
Yeah, that's what we used to do. I tell my kids that. I say, why don't you just call me? Like, not everything has to. If I text them, they'll respond. If I call them, they don't answer.
I've been through the same program.
When you stumble upon an old college game that you have coached in, do you stop by and watch it?
An old college game that I've coached in. I'm not much for watching old games where I know the outcome, unless it's there's a technical aspect of the game that we're trying to use to prepare for the next game or another game. So I guess I don't.
But the past month, though, when you're watching TV, you flip through the channels. You haven't stopped on an Alabama game?
No. I have not. I don't.
What are you watching?
I spend all morning. I spend all morning watching film, preparing for next year's season. I would watch. I watch some of those golf things. Sometimes. The greatest rounds ever.
Yeah.
Maybe some great tournament or something. But when you spend all day on football and then you go home at night, you want to watch it on TV. I mean, that's not. I mean, I know everybody thinks I'm a grinder, but I don't. There's a limit. I have a limit.
We all do. It's like when I go home, the last thing I want to do is talk sports.
Right.
I want to talk anything, music,
Yeah, well, even when we play a game, like we'll have all kind of family come in for a game, and we'll play the game in the afternoon, and then I get home at 8 o'clock at night after I do a TV show and a press conference and talk to a bunch of recruits and all kinds of stuff, and they'll want to watch whatever game's on at night, and I'm like, I'm going to go in the other room and watch something else.
Do you have a guilty pleasure now during, TV-wise during the coronavirus?
Terry and I have kind of, we look for things on, the Amazon, Netflix, all those things, try to find a series where we can watch, like one episode here and one episode there and something that keeps your interest. So, but to be honest with you, if this goes on much longer, we're going to run out of things to watch.
You might be watching some old Alabama football games if that's the case. You're not doing Tiger King, are you? Have you seen that documentary?
No, I hadn't got there yet.
And by the way, it's not LSU related, just letting you know when you see that. I want to make sure you know that. How many calls are you getting about Tua? We probably had at least, half a dozen teams call about Tua. Probably more than that about some of the other players, but specifically about Tua. I think, teams that are interested in a quarterback are going to be interested in Tua. Other than that, I think the other guys, they're just interested in the other players that we have in the draft. What are you telling or reinforcing with these coaches who are interested in Tua?
Well, Tua's a great player. He's very instinctive. He's very accurate with the ball. He's got a great feel for the game. He's great personality. Really good person. Great teammate to have on your team. He's a good leader. And I think he's proven that over and over again. I think that, from an injury standpoint, what I've tried to tell teams is every time Tua has gotten hurt here, it's been extending a play where he should have never even got hit. So I think the lesson in self-preservation that he needs to learn as a quarterback so he doesn't take unnecessary hits is probably, what he needs to learn how to do. Now, the guy's a great competitor, so he's always trying to make a play, which you really don't want to take that away from him, but you also want him to, know when there's nothing there and there's no sense in, taking a hit that you don't need to take.
Okay, to refresh your memory, Marvin, who answers phones here, his father-in-law came in and made penne alla vodka. Alan, our IT guy, made his Sunday gravy. Rob, who's an intern, Roberto, came up with his Sunday gravy.
Is it best bowl?
Best bowl. So you pick out, if you go, oh, that's the best one. Okay. And then we'll see if it matches mine. There's no losers here because I got these guys to make this and nobody gets anything.
We're really off to a good start here. Very tender.
That's the penne alla vodka.
Oh, man.
This is unscientific.
Sauce is great.
I feel like Guy Fieri. I'm gonna take a trip to Flavor Town.
Very tasty. Not so salty either. Wow, this has a lot to say.
Alan's?
This bowl of pasta doesn't have too much to say.
Okay. I got my money. I mean, once again, there's no losers. And we get garlic bread.
Right.
I gotta come up with a competition for tomorrow.
Wings.
Who makes the best wings?
All right, I'm ready.
Okay.
This is the best bowl. It's more original. It feels like a Sunday gravy that I've heard about.
Okay, that's Alan, the IT guy?
But these two are very good. Yes.
Oh, so you went with that. I agree with you on the Sunday gravy. I think the penne alla vodka,
It's fantastic.
would be my
That you return for?
my first choice. I have to gear up for Alan's Sunday gravy, but I think this is Sunday gravy.
The little onions and pancetta in here are fantastic.
But I give Rob, the intern, a lot of credit for having the bravado to jump in. And the meatballs were great. Once again, there's no losers here. I mean, we're losers, but not in the competition.